I'm not feeling the best right now. My chest kind of hurts. My stomach is aching. But I needed to talk about this chapter because if I did not talk about it right now tonight, which is it's Thursday night right now, so I'm like the earliest possible time frame to be talking about this chapter. Not a lot of people are posting about it yet. I read a shitty leak on Reddit this morning, and now I just read the TCB translation proper and took some notes. So because I had to take notes with this one because there's so much here. It is another incredibly dense chapter, an absolutely masterpiece of a chapter. But anyway, if I didn't record this tonight, I'm going away for the weekend, so I would have had to wait like 4 days until I record it again. And by then I'd missed out on the discourse, and it wouldn't be, it would be late. It would be late. So I said, sit down. I know you're feeling like shit. I know you're exhausted, but you're gonna talk about One Piece, and that's also part of the reason why I took notes, is so I wouldn't be like jumbling around everywhere. Anyway, absolute god tier of chapter. In my opinion, this was a 10 out of 10 chapter. I don't, I never get number ratings on shit, but like, God, Oda's really like, I'm so grateful he exists and is just writing this incredible story that like, it changed my life, and it's touches me and so many other people in so many different ways, and I'm just so lucky to have it in my life, to be able to read these chapters weekly or when they do come out, because there's a lot of break weeks. Oda's getting older, but I respect that. I completely respect that, and just getting the privilege of like reading these chapters, like, he really keeps you going. It really keeps you going to get these amazing work, and if like the things that these characters go through, if they can go through it, you can go through anything. Anyway, let's jump into my notes here for this incredible chapter. I have a lot to get through, so I'll try to go as quickly as possible, but usually I end up going faster when I have notes than when I just ramble and dilly-dally. Anyway, the Yamato cover story is finally over, and Yamato being probably my second favorite character in the series behind Robin, I still have to say, what was the point of this cover story? It's been going on for so damn long. Like, I can't even remember when it started now. It's been forever, right? And, like, what was the point of it? Like, Who's Who was starting a little, like villain clan somewhere in the woods. He beat Who's Who and recruited Ulti and Page One. They wandered around for a while. They visited some friends. And then we saw the Kozuki Moria thing. That was the big reveal. And now they're back in the Flower Capital, with Ulti and Page One in tow. It's like, what was the point of this? Other than the Kozuki Moria reveal, which I think is going to be important. Morge did a good video on why he thinks that's going to be important. Can't remember what the video is called, but it's about Cross Guild. I would highly recommend that. But other than that, like, what was the point of this cover story? Like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm still salty over the whole Uzu thing. Like, we still don't have the answer of what was going on there fully. But yeah, anyway, let's jump into the chapter proper. So we start off with, the Roger Pirate successfully saved Jockey, and it's such a wholesome moment. It's like, it's the Marineford, like, happiness before the devastation that's to come probably next chapter. That's starting to trickle into the end of this chapter, but, yeah, God, the happiness. But at least we know that Rayleigh and Shockey are together. But anyway, so Rayleigh says to Shockey that there's something I have to tell you, and she just says, you don't have to say it. I already know." And the cheesy, obvious answer would be, "I love you," of course. But I think that was already expressed. I think that was already expressed in the conversation that they had last chapter. So with Melon T stocks up, is he gonna say he's in love with Roger? Is that's what's gonna happen? I could just see Melon T on her stream on Sunday right now, just like flipping out over that line. But yeah, honestly, what I think it's going to be, if we get a reveal of what he was intending to say later, if it could be left up to interpretation. I think it's very well possible. But what I think it's going to be is that I can't just stay with you now. I have to see this mission with Roger to the end. And when we get to that end, then I can settle down with you. I think that's probably the sentiment there. Which, of course, for shippers, that's could definitely well be that he loves Roger too. I think I'm saying. Anyway, so we're in the midst of the chaos. We're seeing all this action from all these characters, and we get a different perspective of, I think we got this scene, if I remember correctly, if back when we were originally seeing God Valley through the eyes of Kuma, during the Kuma flashback, and we get it from a different perspective of Kuma eating his fruits. He's with Ivankov, little Ivankov. He's about to eat it, and Big Mom crashes through. And he eats it before she can get to it. But Big Mom's just getting fruit cucked constantly. But anyway, there's a line in this, and I can't remember if we got this line in the original, like telling of this part during the Kuma flashback, but it was a line that really hit me hard this time, from Ivankov, and it says, "If we get even a single person off this island alive, we can call this a victory." They're kids. They're literal children, Kuma and Eva at this point, and they're like, they already have that revolutionary ethos, and if that line is almost like, to me, that's like the core of One Piece, right at its heart, right in its essence. And that's why I made a video, like Kuma is the heart of One Piece, because it's like his entire story and his entire character arc is like kind of like the thesis statement of this series. And just this line is almost like could be seen as like a thesis statement for the entire series. I think I remember liking even the shitty Reddit translation I read this morning, even more than the actual TCB trans, not the actual, you know what I mean, the TCB translation. Let me see if I can find that line right now. "If you eat that fruit now, you'll be able to save someone, and even if it's just one person, it'll be our victory." Great line. I also like the current translation too. The TCB translated, "We get a single person off this isle alive, we can call this a victory." And it's just, I just said it, but it's just, that's really the thesis of this series, just doing what you can to make a difference. And it made me tear up. It made me tear up reading that. Oda's amazing, So we cut to, I'm not going to touch on everything, but something we do, there's a lot going on. But we cut to we cut to Garp, and he calls Sengoku. He sees fields of dead civilians. And he's shaken. He's shaken here. And he calls Garp. He calls Sengoku. I'm just getting everything wrong. And he essentially asks him, "Do you know about this?" And he said he heard rumors of something like this once, but the person that told him the rumors, he didn't get validity or anything, but the person that told him the rumors disappeared very shortly after he told him. And this seemed to be a high-ranking Marine. So it seems like what's going on is that the Marines genuinely they're made to do the dirty work and the clean up for it. Like clean up to prepare for it, but they genuinely aren't supposed to know about what's going on here. And if they do find out and they do speak out of it, they're silenced, they're disappeared. And if that's not some fucking Nazi shit right there, I don't know what is. So we see Rox with, his wife and baby Blackbeard in tow, running away. And this scene was incredible too. I don't remember if we got her name, but Rox's wife is just such a great character. And I'm really hoping we get little glimpses of like what the Davy clan is like, and they seem to be really good people. And I'm really hoping we get a little bit more of this. But as they're running away from Garling, another God's Knight, and a bunch of Davy clan members being dummy reversied. And that means, I don't know if Gunko facilitated that like she did in Elbaf in the current, or if what we see later has something to do with it. I don't know how it was like facilitated necessarily, but it means Imu is already here in some capacity, whether it be through Gunko or Saturn. And we'll get to the Saturn stuff soon. But yeah, so yeah, I thought that was interesting that like Imu has already gotten to the point but where he like feels he needed to intervene. So, you know, she insists that, stop carrying me. Like, what does she say exactly? Because this was a really good line too, and I don't want to fuck it up. Let me pull it up right now. She keeps insisting that he put her down, and I'm a full-fledged part of the Davy clan now. Everyone here was always so nice to me, even though I was a pirate. Oh, so she was a pirate. Interesting. I didn't even catch that the first 2 times I read this. Okay, so she's some kind of pirate too. She says, I fully understand the fate of our clan. Please, no, put me down. If I was the kind of woman who just clung to you and couldn't protect a single child, you never would have fallen for me, right? And then, yeah, this is rough. She says, if it looks like they're about to get me, I'll kill Teach and commit suicide. Because she doesn't, I understand the sentiment, is that she doesn't want to have Teach endure the suffering that would entail if they were captured. It would be the worst possible existence you could possibly live. So I understand it at some point. Being Jewish here, it's very reminiscent of the Masada incident, when the Romans were conquering Israel back in like about 2,000 years ago. A ragtag, the last remnants of like the Jewish rebellion at the time, which failed, unfortunately. They like fled to a mountaintop called Masada, and they set up a camp there, sort of, and they waited. But eventually, the Romans were able to make it up, and were going to enslave all of them. And rather than being slaves to them, they all killed them. They all killed their kids and killed themselves, so they wouldn't have to be slaves. And it's like a question of like, there's moral roughness there, moral ambiguity there. It's like, can you make that choice for everyone? Can you make that choice for your kid? And it's like, it's tough, but it's like there's bravery there, too. If you don't, so. So it's an interesting like content. I feel like Oda's kind of channeling that or similar experiences that have happened through history here. But then she says, "We'll survive this by splitting up. Let's meet on Lelucia's back." And like, Lelucia is the kingdom that gets nuked. Why Lelucia? Right? Let me double check that. It gets nuked in the Modern series, and he says it's because it was close by. Yeah, but we don't know. Blackbeard was apparently seen there, according to Ace. But we don't know why Lelucia. That's very interesting. I don't know. Oh, no, he thought Blackbeard was seen there, but it was a guy named Dr. Blackbeard. That was a different guy. I forgot about that in the cover story. Years. I probably read that 10 years ago. So obviously I wasn't going to remember it. Oh, yeah, Peachbeard. That's a character, Peachbeard. Yeah, so we don't know yet. That's interesting. So Lelucia seems to have a lot more significance. Maybe Emu was bluffing when he said that he destroyed it because it was close by. So before we get back to all the end of the chapter stuff, just cutting away, we we get a shot of Big Mom finds the Kaido's fruit, will become Kaido's fruit pretty quickly, and she's like, "Yeah, this will be the perfect fruit for Katakuri." And now I think about it, it would have been the perfect fruit for Katakuri. It like fits him so well. And then Kaido snipes it and shoves it in his mouth. She's getting fruit cooked this whole chapter, and it's great. And that's how Kaido got his fruit. We saw it. We get an awesome. We get an awesome parallel panel of we see Dragon running away carrying baby Shanks, and Rox's wife running away carrying baby Teach. And I feel like that's such a great parallel. It's like these two innocent children being saved, yet one goes into be like they're sort of like diametrically opposed forces, like one joins this big force for good in the world, and one force for evil. Shanks will become the moral compass for Luffy, and Blackbeard will become like sort of the antagonistic force for Luffy. It's very interesting that these I thought that was a really good parallel panel on Oda's part. So we cut to Saturn. He's sitting on a hill, like sort of overlooking the situation. And he says, if all this intense destruction continues, we risk something else being unleashed. What that means, I don't know. I remember when Garling was like surveying God Valley and reporting it back, he said he found something there. And we all, reading it, assumed it to be the Davy Clan members that were living there, but there must be something else on the island. Risk something else being unleashed. Yeah, it's a very, we don't have enough information yet, and maybe we'll get a next chapter with everything going on at the end of this chapter, but there's something there, and I think it'll mean we can look back on what Garling was saying a few chapters ago and look at that through a different lens, like maybe there's something else here. I don't know what it could be. I don't have any ideas yet. Maybe I'll talk to some friends to find out what they think. But if you have any ideas, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I'd love to get your thoughts on that because I'd love to discuss. So anything that pops in your head, let me know. So we got back to the group, Garp, Rox, Garling, and Roger sort of are all convening on the same arriving at the same area, and we see that Rox actually took down Garling. Rox actually beat him. That's sick. That's great. And then everyone's sort of grouping up. We see this amazing shot of Kaido using his new fruit for the first time. So it's like the Dragon form Kaido, Whitebeard, and Rox standing on the side together. Incredible panel. So sick. It goes insanely hard. But okay, so Saturn shows up, speaking on his words before, and he starts his transformation. But instead of stopping at the transformation that we saw in Egghead, he sprouts more from on top of him, and it's almost like Emu, like a giant version of Emu is sort of sprouting out of him, which this isn't what we've seen before. This is something different. It seems like Emu realizes this is a situation where he has to intervene. And we saw him intervening before with the W Reversey stuff, but it seems like he's only intervening when it's the chaos has hit a level to where it seems like there's levels of this where the base level is marine intervention, of government intervention somewhere. The base level is marine intervention. We saw that. Then we get the Buster Call, which is complete destruction, genocide of everyone on an island by Marines. Then when the Marines can't handle a situation, the Holy Knights are brought in. It's just particularly, it seems like when it's a particularly special interest of the deeper government, the deep state, if you will, the Holy Knights are brought in. And then when the Holy Knights can't handle the situation, Emu steps in himself. That seems to be the situation here. So we see this Emu form sprouting out of Saturn's form, and Rox says, I'll get to what Rox says today, but This looked exactly like, so we've been wondering forever what those, it was a mystery box that Oda set up a long time ago. At the end of Thriller Bark, he shows these shadowy figures in the ocean in the background with like red glowing eyes. And it's like, I compared it, it's almost the exact shape of this sprouting that Emu is doing out of Saturn. Like with the red eyes, like, could this be what we saw all that time ago? Like, is this it? Is this it? Like, I mean, I clicked it immediately. I was like, and I haven't seen anyone talking about it yet, but it's also Thursday night, so maybe that will pop up more tomorrow. But like, is that it? Is this the connection? Is that what we saw all that time ago? That would be crazy. Like, we've been waiting for that mystery for so long. I thought it was a chance we wouldn't even get it revealed, and now it seems like it's coming. And then they're asking, like, what the hell? Everyone's asking, like, what the fuck is this? Like, essentially. And Rox recognizes it right away. And he says, what did he say? He recognizes it. I mean, obviously he recognizes Emu. He recognizes it. And he's smiling. And he says, what is it, you ask? If I had to say, it's the world. And it's like that weird, like, sprouting form of Emu. And it's like, that's interesting. Just crazy, like, one-liner after crazy one-liner in this, that, like, there's so much implication, like, with, like, you know, like there's just these lines in this chapter that hit so hard and give so much thought and pondering. Like, God, Oda's hitting it with the dialogue and the lines in this chapter. Yeah, I don't, like, you know, I don't know what that means. It's big. It's big. I know that. Wow. What a chapter. This is, you know, a masterpiece of a chapter. I was so tempted, I think I said this last week, I was so tempted, like, right off the bat, to say already God Valley stacking up to be, like, my second favorite flashback behind the Kuma backstory. But then I remember, like, Robin backstory, Law backstory, like, there's just too much incredible stories in this, incredible sub-stories in this giant story that is One Piece, the greatest story ever told. So you can't really rank it even yet, but yeah, I think what's going to happen, and it's sad to say, but I think what's going to happen is that Rox is going to get Dummy reversied, and it's going to be up to Garp and Roger to take him down, and that's where the whole rumor is going to come from, and that's why Garp won't ever talk about it, because he'll know what happened. He'll know that the government, you know, government possessed Rox, you know. But anyway, that's unfortunately, I think, where this is going, and he'll never, you know, it'll be really fucked, but he'll never get to meet his wife on Lucy. I don't even know if she's making it off this island, because Blackbeard has to get fucked up badly to turn out the way he did, to be, like, the sick individual he is. So, you know, we're hitting that, like, this is the start of it in Marine for that thing where it's like that big high of, like, Shaki getting rescued and everything, and, like, Kuma and Ivankov, like, succeeding on things, that like epic high where, you know, then there's the devastatingly low that's coming, you know. And this feels a lot like Marineford in that sense. Very similar, and I like that parallel a lot, because we're about to hit that low. It's coming. Unfortunately, break next week. I'm really excited. This one's actually a planned break, I believe. The last one was Oda had, like, we don't know the details, of course, but Oda was sick, to the point where he couldn't work. But he's all better now. This is just a planned break, I believe. So, okay. The bottom says chapter 1160 end. Someone posted that this is a chapter 1161. And the chapter at the top says 1162. I believe it's 162. I believe that's right. I can see right now from the last video I uploaded. I just got to recommend an article called "What's Eating George Clooney." What is an article title? What the? Anyway, we'll see what is the actual chapter. You'll know because of the title of this video. But the last chapter was 161. Yes, this is 162. We're all over the place today. We're all over the place. Anyway, that is it. We're clocking it at 25 minutes. I said this would be a short one. Alas, it is definitely not. So, yeah, well, thanks guys for listening. Yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Always love having conversations about One Piece. So, yeah, thank you for listening / watching.